All right, the book this week is called Frank and Bean, and I think this is so funny. Look, Frank is the hot dog, and Bean is literally a bean. So this is a story about Frank and Bean. All right, here's a table of contents. So this is going to give us a sneak peek on what this book is going to be about. Chapter 1 is all about Frank. Chapter 2 is about Bean. Chapter 3's title is called Loud and Messy. And Chapter 4's title is The Big Secret. Ooh, I can't wait to get to Chapter 4. Chapter 1, Frank. This is Frank. This is Frank's tent. This is Frank's pencil. This is Frank's spork. This is Frank's secret notebook. Everything here is Frank's. Alone at last, says Frank. Now I can write in peace. Frank writes in his notebook, but then he hears ribbit, ribbit. Sorry, Frog, he says. My writing is top secret. Frank moves on. Frank hikes. He writes in his notebook. Hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo. Shoo you, he says. No peeking at my words, Owl. Frank moves again. Frank dips his toes in the pond. He writes in his notebook. Splish, splash. Good gravy, he shouts. Who is it now? You can't read my secret notebook, and that's that. He looks down. Oh, it's just me, he says. Silly Frank. At night, Frank toasts one lonely marshmallow. He thought somebody was bugging him, but it was just his reflection. Good night, Frog, he says. Good night, Owl. Good night, Crickets. The frog does not say good night. The owl does not say good night. The crickets do not say good night. None of them say good night to Frank. Frank frowns. Good night, Frank, says Frank. I wonder why they're not saying good night to him. Chapter 2, Bean. All right, so we learned a little bit about Frank. Now it's time to learn about Bean. Frank eats his oatmeal. He writes in his secret notebook. But then he hears honk, honk, honk. Good gravy, cries Frank. What is that? Something parks next to Frank's tent. This is Bean. This is Bean's bus. This is Bean's trumpet. This is Bean's drum. This is Bean's triangle and motorbike and gong. Everything here is Bean's. Look at the title of his bus. This is what he calls his bus. Bean, the musical fruit. So he must be musical. Bean plays his trumpet. Toot, toot. Frank frowns. That is too loud. Bean plays his drum. Boom, boom, boom. Oh no, says Frank. That is even louder. Bean tries to sing. I am a bean without a song. Doo-dee-doo, boo. Enough is enough, says Frank. Stop making so much noise. Bean gives up trying to sing. He rides his motorbike. Vroom, vroom. You are loud, says Frank. No, I'm not, Bean shouts. I am Bean. I am Frank, says Frank. What are you doing here? You want me to cheer? Yells Bean. Okay, hooray for Frank. I did not say cheer, says Frank. Turn off your bike so I can talk to you. Moo! Bean shouts. Do I hear a cow? I said, you, said Frank, not moo. Bean looks around. There's that cow again, he says. Bean says, I give up. Goodbye. Good pie, calls Bean. I would love some. Thanks. Bean follows Frank back to his tent. Oh boy, chapter 3. Loud and messy. Where's the pie? Asks Bean. Pie? What pie? Frank asks. Oh, rats. Did you give it to the cow? Asks Bean. Frank sighs. Ugh. Are you lost? No. I am on a journey, says Bean. I am looking for something. I have searched from sea to sea. What are you looking for? Frank asks. Words, says Bean. Words? Why? Asks Frank. Because I am one bean band, says Bean. I make up tunes, but I have no words to sing with them. I have tried and tried, but I cannot write a song. You're trying too hard, says Frank. You don't need to look far for words. I don't? Asks Bean. No, the words are already inside of you. But you are too loud to hear them, says Frank. Try this. Sit still, then be quiet. Frank is as still as a rock. All is quiet. Squirt! Bean, that is not quiet, says Frank. Being quiet makes me hungry, says Bean. Want a jelly donut hole? No, I've never had one. Now shh, says Frank. He closes his eyes. All is quiet again. Squirt! Splat! You are loud and messy, says Frank. What's on your hat? Bean asks. That is my headlamp, says Frank. Give it back. What is that? Bean asks. 3, 2, 1, fire! That is my spork, says Frank. It is half fork and half spoon. Wow, a spork is half cool and half amazing, says Bean. What is this? Asked Bean. Do not touch, Frank yells. Why? Asks Bean. That's my secret notebook, says Frank. Why is it secret? Asks Bean. Are you a spy? Are you a robber? Do you steal sporks? No, says Frank. I know what you are, says Bean. You are a private eye. No, will you ever be quiet? Says Frank. Yes, when you try a jelly donut hole, says Bean. Try it! Fine, says Frank, but just one small bite. Trump, squirt, splat. Go, burp. Hot diggity dog, Frank says. That is more than one small bite, says Bean. Frank does not say a word. He writes in his secret notebook. Chapter 4. The Big Secret. Ooh, what's the big secret gonna be? Frank closes his secret notebook. He turns off his headlamp. He shuts his eyes. All is quiet. Tooty toot toot! Good gravy, says Frank. He knocks on Bean's door. Tap, tap, tap. Have you come to hear my trumpet? Asks Bean. No, it's too loud and too late for tooting, says Frank. Be quiet. Frank goes back to bed. All is quiet again. Oh, what is a bean without a song? Boom, boom, ding, ding, honk, honk, gong. Tap, tap, tap. Bean, do you know what time it is? Frank asks. Yes, says Bean. It's time to rock! No, says Frank. It is time to sleep. Frank goes back to bed. All is... Hello, Frank. It is I, Bean. Bean, says Frank. What are you doing here? Being a one-bean band is lonely, says Bean. Nobody knows when I am scared. I hear monsters. Listen. Ribbit, ribbit. Those are not monsters, says Frank. Those are frogs. Hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo. Yikes, what is that? Bean asks. Those are owls, says Frank. Chirp, chirp, chirp. And what are those scary monsters? Bean asks. Those are crickets, says Frank. Do not be afraid. Listen again. Bean sits as still as a rock. Ribbit, ribbit, hoo, 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 chirp, chirp, chirp. Sounds like music, says Bean. It is, says Frank. It's the night song. Bean hums. Ribbit, ribbit, hoo, hoo, chirp, chirp. I have a new tune, says Bean. All I need now are words. Says Frank. He opens his secret notebook. What is so secret anyway? Bean asks. Frank frowns. I want to tell you, but what if you laugh at me? Do not worry, says Bean. I am not a mean bean. Okay, I will tell you, says Frank. These are my poems, but sharing them is scary. Please read a poem, says Bean. Do not be afraid. I will try, says Frank. I will be brave. Bean hums the night tune. Frank sings his new poem. You are so small, loud, and messy, but inside you are sweet. Oh, jelly donut hole, you are so fun to eat. That is my new favorite song, says Bean. Frank and Bean sing the jelly donut hole song together. You did it, Frank, says Bean. You wrote a song. Now, I know what you are. You are not a spy or a private eye. Then what am I? Asks Frank. You are a rock star, says Bean. Want to be in my band? In a word, says Frank, yes. Cool beans, says Bean. I can be quiet now, Frank. I will go to bed. Good night, Frog, says Frank. Good night, Owl. Good night, Crickets. The frog does not say good night. The owl does not say good night. The crickets do not say good night. None of them say good night to Frank. Good night, Bean, Frank whispers. Sweet dreams, Frank, yells Bean. The end.